Forgive some of the technological limitations here. I am in Atlanta, Georgia. Regardless, we have feelings, yes, on this weekend of quantity-wise, the most wrestling in a single weekend that I remember. If you're counting up the however many hours we got with Great American Bash, plus the 6 plus 2 on the pre-show, 8 hours of All In, and then 2 hours of Saturday night's main event, and who knows how many hours we're going to get tomorrow with Evolution. It's a lot. But I've got feelings because I'm just coming off of Saturday night's main event. Now, I will watch all of the shows, of course. I will be there with my opinions on all of it. I'm going to, as soon as I'm done recording this, watch another wrestling show. I'm going to watch them all. But I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. We just filmed the Raw recap podcast for Saturday night's main event, which, by the way, if you have a second, listen to it after this one, because we interviewed Gunther right after he won the World Heavyweight Championship, literally still in his gear, walked right out of Gorilla into the room, and it was pretty great. But I want to talk about Saturday night's main event and everything that were happening, because there were probably 3 big stories for me that came out of Saturday night's main event. One was, of course, Seth Rollins. Another was Randy Orton, Jelly Roll, Drew McIntyre, and Logan Paul. And the third was Goldberg retires from wrestling. Now, as of I don't know when, Goldberg has been doing interviews talking about how he knows that he's done wrestling for the most part, but he felt like he never got that retirement match. And I didn't know what that meant. Did that meant that the retirement matches that he got weren't advertised as a retirement match? Was it because it wasn't hyped up enough? Was it because he didn't perform the way he wanted to perform? Was it because he didn't win? I don't know. And, we wildly speculated week after week, talking about the fact that Goldberg could win the World Heavyweight Championship, because that's what happened in the sort of final era of Goldberg. Goldberg became this person who, whether fans wanted him to or not, could just become the champion. It happened multiple times. So the idea that it wasn't going to happen here, it was not like he wasn't necessarily going to win it for sure, but the idea that he absolutely wasn't going to win the title, that was not an argument to have. There was much conversation to be had about it. Now, I think that what we're witnessing is something new, specifically something new for Gunther, where I feel like the immediate reaction is almost like an emptiness, like a drop down, because of what just happened. And it's the exact same reaction. And it was even in a scenario where people didn't necessarily want Goldberg to win. But I looked around that building in Atlanta, and by the way, anybody wondering why Goldberg was on the main event of Saturday night's main event? That building, great crowd in Atlanta. And that building not only went nuts when Goldberg came out, but they stood up for Goldberg for his entire entrance. And then throughout the entire commercial break, which I understand it is difficult to pace a premium live event type of show, but also have commercials in, right? Saturday night's main event is this weird hybrid between a WWE television show and a WWE premium live event. It's like premium live event matches and stories mixed in with the pacing of a television show, and I think that all of us get thrown for a loop over that. But you end up we got this commercial break after Goldberg's entrance, and the entire time the commercial break was on, the audience remained standing. And they kept standing until the match actually began, because it was like everybody was there to see this Goldberg match. And when Gunther won, there were a lot of faces going like, that's it? Gunther just won? And it's really interesting, because the last time that happened, it was when he won the World Heavyweight title. When he put Jey Uso to sleep, and we all said, that was it? Gunther just won? And this is the era, to me, that we're going into with Gunther. This is what I think this second World Heavyweight title reign is going to be all about. That's it. Gunther just won. And I think you're going to see him with more opponents. I'm still wondering who his SummerSlam opponent is going to be. Based on everything that happened, I wouldn't be surprised if CM Punk and Gunther is your SummerSlam match. And can you imagine? We'll sit there and we'll talk about CM Punk and Gunther, and we'll talk about it until we're blue in the face, and we'll give all the possible scenarios, and maybe this is the time for CM Punk to finally win the World Heavyweight Championship that he hasn't had since returning to the WWE, and then Gunther just wins. Because that's what Gunther does. Sometimes Gunther just wins. I think Goldberg overperformed for Goldberg. I don't think that Goldberg could have possibly expected to have a better showing. Goldberg and Gunther went for like whatever it was. It felt like 12 minutes, more than 10 minutes for sure. 12, I don't know if it was 15, but a lot more minutes than I think anybody expected it to go. I think people were expecting a 4 or 5 minute match, something like that. And they got a match that went into the double digits. And they got a match that told a story. They got a match that evolved, right? In the beginning, there was a lot of Goldberg offense. And it all kind of changed when he went right through that barricade. And the fact that he's 58 years old and spearing right through that barricade was like a sight to be seen in and of itself. But then Gunther started working on that left leg that showed up with the brace. And you believed the brace, and I think the brace was probably a functional brace. But the rest of the match was just Gunther working on that leg. And it's like Pro Wrestling Psychology 101. It's like, that's what Gunther would do. That's what Gunther should do if he's trying to retain the championship. And he got and there was like at one point when Goldberg jumped over the barricade, I was like, oh, is he gonna like really get involved? Is he? No. There was this moment between the two of them. And by the way, if Gage like ends up signing an NIL deal or whatever, that can always be revisited. But it's like, no, the family got involved a little bit because the family should get involved because this all started with Goldberg's family. But ultimately, no. Two things, though. The fact that we got this story and the story of this match, and then we also got an effective jackhammer. I did not think Goldberg was even going to attempt the jackhammer. I thought it was going to be Spear City, and I was fine with that, by the way. The fact that he actually got Gunther up, hit the jackhammer, I mean, in terms of final matches, in terms of being 58 years old and not having wrestled in years, and in terms of the fact that when he was a young man, he didn't wrestle long matches. When Goldberg was a young man, spear, jackhammer, pin, the whole way through. So the fact that now at this point, he's putting on a match like that, I would say that Goldberg, I would hope, accomplished everything he wanted to accomplish. And the headline is that, man, just when you think that you know how good Gunther is, he's better. That, to me, was what this was all about. If you really watch that match, you can see how unbelievably great Gunther is at professional wrestling. It's pretty mind-blowing to me that he's as good as he is. And not to say that he shouldn't be that good, but just the fact that anybody is as good as Gunther is at this. Now, I think that and I think Goldberg is retired, right? There was some conversation as to whether or not this would actually be his last match. I think there was some conversation as to whether or not maybe Goldberg ends up at SummerSlam. Maybe he did his farewell speech at the end, got cut off due to TV time, but it kept going, and I think WWE posted that digitally. Lots of blasts from the past. I mean, bro, like, can we get through a premium live event that Charles Robinson doesn't almost get killed on? Charles Robinson, I mean, weeks after catching that shoulder check from John Cena in Saudi, ends up catching a full-on spear from Goldberg. I would imagine Charles Robinson was thrilled with it, to tell you the truth. But just the idea that it's like, is this going to be the thing now with Charles Robinson? Is that because that's kind of a draw? The idea that, like, maybe they'll announce in advance, by the way, the main event tonight, Charles Robinson is going to be the referee. And you know at some point you're getting an insane ref bump from Charles Robinson. But, I mean, that guy has to be having the time of his life right now. And you know, I mean, again, to see Charles Robinson, who was there for Goldberg's past, who was refereeing so many of Goldberg's WCW matches, to watch him catch a spear. The fact that Charles Robinson caught a spear in Goldberg's retirement match on Saturday night's main event in 2025, the whole sentence is wackadoo nuts. And we're witnessing it. That's just what wrestling is now. Doug Dillinger was on Saturday Night's Main Event in 2025, knocking on Goldberg's door, letting him know it was time to go. Doug Dillinger. Steiners are in the crowd. DDP's in the crowd. Ernest the Cat Miller hanging out with Goldberg at the end of that thing. I mean, pretty cool for what it was. And I talk about CM Punk and Gunther as a possibility now for SummerSlam because I don't know what's going on with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins versus LA Knight ended in a way, and I'll tell you exactly what my thought process was. When it first happened and Seth is down, I thought it was a work. Seth goes for like the flip over the top rope, then goes to the other side of the ring, springboard moonsaults off the second rope, and lands on his feet after LA Knight avoids it, and I guess something happens to his knee, it looked like. Something happened to his leg. He goes down. He's in the corner. And I swear, the way everybody was acting and everything, I said, I think it's a work. I think, this is, where are we going now? Maybe this is the part where Braun Breaker comes in. Maybe this is the part where Bronson Reed comes in. And then LA Knight's pushed away. Seth kind of hobbles up. LA Knight hits the BFT, 1, 2, 3. LA Knight wins. As soon as I saw that finish, I said, I don't think this is a work anymore. And I don't think it's a work. I think that it goes to show what a pro Seth Rollins is, because he goes, whatever the finish was, hit me with your finish and pin me right now. I'll take, I think I'm already injured. Hit me with your finish and let's go. I mean, I have not at this time, and by the way, good for LA Knight. Hopefully that writes him into a lot of stories going forward. But I mean, I can't imagine. I really hope that Seth is not out for a considerable amount of time. Number one, because you don't want people to go get injured. You don't want people to get injured badly. But number two, because he's the centerpiece. He's the nucleus of multiple storylines on Monday Night Raw right now. And he's got the Money in the Bank briefcase. Now, that is going to make, if he's out for a longer amount of time, that's going to make things interesting for that Money in the Bank briefcase. But, I mean, if depending on where they were going, like Seth Rollins could be out of contention for the conversation about maybe a Seth Rollins versus Gunther match. We kept talking about how with Seth Rollins having the briefcase, every championship match now has this little caveat, which, by the way, we were all talking about it for Gunther versus Goldberg. There were some people who thought that even with the weird LA Knight finish, that it was a work to get to Seth Rollins cashing in on Gunther at the end of Saturday Night's Main Event. But I don't understand that as a concept anyway, because the whole idea of cashing in the Money in the Bank is that you're surprised by it. So why would you have to fake an injury to surprise somebody if they don't know you're cashing in anyway? Like, it just doesn't. It's totally cockamamie, I think. But that takes that sort of cash-in conversation out of the question, at least until we know to what degree Seth Rollins is injured. And by the way, maybe he's okay. I don't know. But, there was like all this stuff about Roman Reigns coming back, all this stuff about Seth Rollins and CM Punk, all this stuff about Seth Rollins having the goal of being the World Heavyweight Champion and cashing in on Gunther. Like, who knows what the plan was going forward, but it seems like that's not the plan anymore. And if we don't have Seth Rollins for SummerSlam, I mean, I would think, you know what? You could do like Roman Reigns versus Braun Breaker at SummerSlam. And then, or you could have Roman Reigns return at SummerSlam. The fact that he didn't return tonight on Saturday Night's Main Event, he could return at SummerSlam proper, not have Roman Reigns have a match. Have him return as a surprise at the end of SummerSlam and go forward maybe with Gunther. Roman versus Gunther is very fascinating. Go forward, maybe he gets involved in the John Cena Cody Rhodes story. Like, maybe you set up a singles thing between Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what you do. I would probably consider doing CM Punk versus Gunther. And then, yeah, but it's just, it's it's a real shame when anything like that happens. Hopefully it's not serious, but yeah, I think it definitely throws a monkey wrench and creates a new conversation about everything that is happening in that world heavyweight title picture. And then you had Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre, which I had thought was going to end up evolving into something for SummerSlam. I didn't see this tag team match coming. Well, I saw the tag team match coming as of SmackDown. So we'll go back to SmackDown. On Friday, man, I thought that was exactly how you handle. I loved that Jelly Roll's musical performance got interrupted. The fact that Logan Paul was the one that interrupted it, great. But just the idea, because you never see that. And I think the reason you never see that is because so many of these guys, these musicians, they don't want their music being messed with. So the reason they're on the show is to promote their music. So the last thing they want is for you to mess with their music. So they want the whole song played. Jelly Roll is smart enough to know, you've heard the song before. It's a massive song. So play a little bit of it. But if I get involved in an angle, if I get involved in a match, that's going to ingratiate me to wrestling fans way more than if they just heard my song and liked it one episode on SmackDown in Nashville. So I love that Logan Paul interrupted it. It's probably my favorite thing Logan Paul's ever done is his whole, you're an outsider. We are the ones who should be in this ring. We're the ones who paved the way. The idea that Logan Paul no longer sees himself as an outsider is casting out. Now Logan Paul as the gatekeeper for professional wrestling is unbelievable. It's such a great evolution of story. It's such an annoying, douchey thing for Logan to do. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So we get to Saturday night's main event. Logan is in Drew McIntyre's corner. Jelly Roll is in Randy Orton's corner. And this sequence of events where Randy hits the RKO, then he pins Drew, then Logan comes in and sucker punches Randy. Then Logan beats Randy down. Then Jelly Roll comes in and punches out Logan Paul, which is the second time in the match he had gotten physical. Earlier he had shoved Logan Paul. And then, forget about playing music on the show. This is how you ingratiate yourself to wrestling fans. Jelly Roll, catching a full-on Claymore to the face. Jelly Roll just getting laid out flat. Full boots to the face from Drew McIntyre. Was, perfect. Anybody who questions, I don't know if I want this celebrity involvement, let's pay attention to the celebrity involvement first. As of right now, Jelly Roll getting Claymored in the face is something that I want to see. And it makes me optimistic about what this tag match is going to look like. Now, as soon as I saw the altercation on SmackDown, it went from, in my head, Jelly Roll versus Logan Paul to Jelly Roll and Randy Orton versus Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. And I think that's a brilliant move to do it that way, because people might not cheer Jelly Roll in a wrestling ring. Number one, Jelly Roll shouldn't be wrestling a singles match right now by himself. He's never wrestled before. Number two, Logan Paul's great. I don't know if he's a ring general. I don't know if he's the one that's going to bring Jelly Roll through a great match. And number three, what if people start cheering for Logan Paul and booing Jelly Roll? That would kind of put a damper on the whole thing. What if instead we have Randy Orton, who ain't getting booed? And by the way, if there was ever any indication that Randy Orton's not turning heel right now, this would be that indication. So Randy Orton ain't getting booed. Drew McIntyre is getting booed. Drew McIntyre is a straight up heel. Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul together won't get cheered. Randy Orton is only going to get cheered. And Randy Orton giving Jelly Roll the cosign, Jelly Roll's good to go. So now we got this great tag team match where it's all you need is a couple of spots from Jelly Roll, and Randy Orton can handle the rest. Drew McIntyre's on the other side. Logan Paul knows what he's doing by now, and boom, you're off to the races. So I think this is a very, very smart way to handle having a Jelly Roll match. And the fact that the taste that you get before the challenge is made for the tag match at SummerSlam is Jelly Roll getting Claymored in the face. Just kind of for a moment, lets everybody know we're serious about this. This is going to be a real match. There's going to be real bumps taken. Is great. So I, for one, enjoyed Saturday night's main event. I know some people don't like the commercials. I was watching in person, so luckily I didn't have to deal with them. I get not liking commercials. They're annoying. And I get that it disrupts the pacing on them. If I could change Saturday night's main event in any way, I say bring back the short interviews. Can you imagine the Saturday night's main event starts and you bring it back to when like the wrestlers would come on and talk for 10 seconds with their logo behind them? Solo Sikoa saying, Jimmy Uso, tonight I'm bringing my MFTs and you're going down. And then Jimmy Uso comes on and he goes, Solo Sikoa, you can bring your MFTs if you want to, but it's going to be 4 letters that take you down. Yeet. And then boom, here's Randy Orton and here's Drew McIntyre and here's Jelly Roll and here's Goldberg. And you could even do it like Gunther cuts a promo and Goldberg, just almost like the Ultimate Warrior, just looks at the camera and snorts smoke through his nose, and that's his whole promo. Welcome to Saturday night's main event. Here's Joe Test and Jesse Ventura. That's how I would do it. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Hopefully they consider it going forward. Again, I'm probably going to join you for another emergency podcast or 2 this weekend still. You know, I got to watch All In. I got to finish Great American Bash. We're going to be watching Evolution tomorrow for sure. So I'll be back with you at least one more time, if not 2 more times, before the weekend is over. We will probably, since I'm in Atlanta now, have a delayed official episode of Notsam Wrestling this week. Call it maybe Tuesday. Wednesday, we'll come out with the official episode of Notsam Wrestling, but we will have emergency podcasts in the meantime as well. We'll be doing Notsam Wrestling live starting on Monday on SiriusXM as usual. Make sure you're subscribed to the Notsam Wrestling YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed to this podcast everywhere you get podcasts. Apple, Spotify, everywhere you get them. Leave reviews, hit the stars, and we will see you very soon when we have feelings once more. And Notsam Wrestling has to come to you with an emergency podcast.